How's it? Welcome into the Sunday Gunner. Not a great weekend. Not a great weekend in the Arsenal universe, but we'll get through it, and we will move to Wednesday as we should. And yeah, so you guys know who I am. I've got Glenn with me today. Ryan hopefully is jumping in here at some point. He should be, although we're kind of wondering where he is at this point. But yeah, lots to talk about. We'll see how angry Glenn is. Or maybe he's not, but we'll get into it here straight away. So what's up, Glenn? How's the weekend?
Arsenal kind of ruined it for me, but I put it into perspective. I wasn't angry because I think, excuse me, I shouldn't be pouring while I talk to you. Um, um, to say that Brentford didn't deserve a point would be way unfair to them, as I
Mhm.
said in the tweet. And but of course I'm disappointed. And then just as I was, getting over my disappointment a little bit, they admit they made a mistake with VAR and they were offside on that goal, and it just reignited it a little bit for me.
Yeah.
It's just annoying. We better not lose the league because of that decision yesterday.
I mean, that was kind of the first thing that popped into my head. But then, as soon as I thought about it, the immediate next thought that I had was, okay, if we lose the league by one, if we finish second by 1 point, everyone will look back on yesterday and say, yesterday, right? But should have beaten Everton, right? We're a better side than Everton. We should have beaten them. We should not have drawn Newcastle at home. We should have beaten them by rights. I think we played better there, or better than them at home. But then you go to Southampton away, and we draw that one. So there will be other areas that I will look at to say, you know what? And I've said this before. Great teams overcome these things,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that City have dealt with the egregious calls that we've dealt with. I don't know, because I don't watch their games all that closely. Nor am I, even if I did, I'm not emotionally invested in them the way that I am our matches. But go ahead.
All I was going to say is you're 100% right listing all of those things, but if you look at it from a different angle, uh, look at Germany, okay? Bayern. They're, in my opinion, they're a little bit better than us. After they came back from their break, they went winless in 3 games. They should never even lose a game in that league. They are way better than everybody. We can't expect perfection from this team, especially how young they are. And I know that this it's fun to point fingers and dissect every little thing, but I kind of look at it in that perspective. There's no easy games anywhere as far as I'm concerned, BG.
No, there's absolutely not. No game is easy. No game is a given. Um, man, I hate blaming officials for things, but I mean, these are egregious errors that are being made. I mean, so Lee Mason, the I guess not VAR, the league, whatever that PMGOL thing. I think those are the letters. I think that's the whatever it is. They've admitted to 7 errors in matches this year.
I didn't hear that story. Please go
Four of
on.
them, 4 of those errors. So the majority were committed by Lee Mason. 2 of the 4 happened to us by
Hmm.
Lee Mason. The foul, the phantom foul called on Martin Odegaard in the United match at Old Trafford, where they waved off the Martinelli goal. They disallowed the Martinelli goal. And yesterday, um, I just don't know what to say about, they admitted they were wrong today. They put out a statement, said now Ryan's not going to be here.
Okay.
But anyway, they admitted to the error. So, but what good does that do us? I keep seeing people say, "Oh, well, we have to replay the thing." Okay. But now we get into if you make one error in a game, now we have to replay the game because of it. I get it, and I'm mad, but it's one of those, I'm mad because I can't control it. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it
You want to lose it. You want to lose it on the pitch. You don't want to lose it because of errors.
right.
Is that? Go ahead, and then I'll chime
No,
in.
it's just one of those things. Like, being a sports fan, like, you have to accept this. Like, this is you can't replay every game because of an. I mean, if they're going to do it in the Premier League, what's to stop it trickling over our direction and replaying an NFL game? Because I mean, I don't want to go off on American sports, but the AFC Championship game 2 weeks ago, for those who watch American football, that was awful. I kept seeing things about the head official for that game winning MVP of the game. So, but you get into, hockey in the NBA. I mean, 82 games, you're going to replay a game because the referees made one bad call that they said, yeah, we got that one wrong.
They better not. Maybe someone's floating that idea, but I can't see it ever happening.
Well, it'll never, and it shouldn't happen, and it never should happen. The only thing that I would say is this: in yesterday's, and I thought about this. If you can't replay the game, you also can't take the goal away. Well, you could take the goal away from Brentford and say, hey, you know what? We screwed up. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to disallow that goal. So that would affect Brentford's goal difference. That may come into play for them somewhere down the road. So we're going to take that goal away from them. So that goal was never scored. And as for Arsenal, we're not going to give Arsenal all 3 points. But just like we took the goal away from Brentford, we're also going to take away their point, and we're going to award that point to Arsenal. So while we don't get all 3, split the difference, we get 1. So we come away from the game with 2 points instead of 1. Brentford have none. I don't know. That's like, I feel like that would be a way to sort of appease everyone, at least everyone on our side. I mean, the Brentford fans, but I don't care about the Brentford fans. I don't care. But anyway, go ahead.
I know. I understand how you feel because it feels like we were robbed. But let me preface this by saying this. Officiating is a tough job, okay? The only time you get noticed is if you F up. And having said that, the Premier League is the best league in the world, but the officials are not even close to that. And that is so friggin' frustrating. Ooh, that felt good. It is so friggin' frustrating to have some of the worst officials in the world in the best league in the world. That's all. That's all.
No,
I gotta say.
I mean, it really is. It's the best league in the world with the worst officiating. And I'm floating this out there. And since it's just you and I today, we we can go down this rabbit hole a little bit. But I tweeted this out yesterday. I mean, these things are borderline. I used the word criminal in the tweet yesterday. It's not, but is it worthy of an investigation? Is it worthy of should Arsenal, should we hire some independent investigator to come in and basically say, okay, look, there's too many things here for this all to be a coincidence? Are we match fixing? I mean, is there being passed down from the powers that be it the FA, the Premier League, or UEFA, or they say, look, this is what we want. This is the outcome that we want. So we're going to figure out what we can do to get it. Now, with that being said, the referees can't force a goal, right? I mean, they could award a penalty and put you in the best position possible to score a goal, but what if you don't? What if the goal is what if the penalty kick is saved, and then you've still not accomplished your desired outcome? But I mean, these things, especially with it being the same person involved in all of these situations, in two of ours that have caught now. Real quick, I'm sorry, I'm kind of tangenting off here.
Go, I'm listening.
I saw a thing. It was, I don't remember if it was Sport Bible or Lad Bible, but it was something, and they went through. Someone had gone through every match where we dropped points, and there was an egregious officiating error that had been acknowledged by the match officials association, whatever that thing is. Every match that we've dropped points in, there's been an error made by an official, whether it be VAR or the on-field official, that caused that. I won't say that resulted in us dropping the points, but there's been something from every game where we've dropped points that could have been, that either was not called, period, and should have been, or was called in error. Think about that for a minute. I mean,
yeah, of course that's always possible, but I prefer more transparency in the way that officials are rated. I mean, a few days after they do a game, they sit down with a bunch of suits and go over every call they made. Okay, obviously, what you're talking about is kind of a pattern, and it's just like, so what they need to do is to. I know they send referees down when they suck, to the championship, etc. But they got to make it more transparent, because then ideas like yours get floated around, and other ideas I've heard, and similar ideas to yours I've heard. We got to stop that. As far as getting robbed of 2 points, I've been a sports fan since I was a little kid, and there's always going to be errors in officiating that are going to cost you, and you just have to live with it.
yeah.
I don't, I've seen it so many times, especially in the NFL. So, you got to just deal with it. I mean, real quick, and I don't talk American sports. The Houston Oilers and Pittsburgh Steelers, Mike Renfro had a catch in the end zone. Kenny.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's
so you got to accept stuff like that. I was one of the Steeler haters. What a team the Steelers were, but I hated them. So anyway, but that's my point. You just got to accept it and move on. None of this splitting the points and stuff. That gets too complicated.
Well, I'm putting a thing out in the chat box right now, and it's the Serenity Prayer. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And look, this is being a sports fan, right? And so it's not a remake of the movie. They just named it the same thing, but the Jimmy Fallon, Drew Barrymore movie Fever Pitch, where Fallon's the Red Sox fan and blah, blah, blah.
Oh yeah. They changed everything around because American audiences are lame.
But I just lost my train of thought with there's a scene in the movie where Jimmy Fallon basically says, in terms of like being in control, like it's good for the soul to immerse yourself in something beyond your control. I think that's the line. I'm probably not getting it right, but
that's the line in that very average movie, because that's a great line. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. But but still, it is good for the soul, because I think it does teach us a little bit of look, we have no choice here. We have to move on. What are we going to do? Show up with torches and pitchforks outside? These guys have? No. Is it because at the end of the day, while it is a big deal in that realm, in terms of my life carrying on, it's not that big of a deal. I have much bigger fish to fry than to lose sleep over it. It sucks. And believe me when I tell you, if it comes down to a 1 point difference
Oh
between
God.
us winning the league and finishing second,
Oh.
yeah, and everybody is going to look back on that. Well, they'll look back on this. They'll look back on the United match because those are the two incidents with Lee
Mhm.
Mason. So, but and we'll wrap this up here in a minute. The thing is that these guys, they can be sent down or relegated just like the teams, but they never are. They never
Yeah, that's
are.
true. That's true.
I've seen guys come up, but I've never seen guys actually go down. I just, you know, it is this is imagine you commit an error at work that could cost the company something the equivalent of what this is costing Arsenal.
Hmm.
You're done. You're done. You're out the
Yeah.
door, man. Bring in that cardboard box. Start cleaning off your desk, and GTFO. I don't want to.
No,
The cool kids all like that's what the cool kids would say now. They wouldn't say get the fuck out. They would say GTFO. That's the cool kids would do.
Well, okay. Let me just say one other thing real quick
Oh,
because you talked about how something like that Brentford game affects us individually, and my timeline I expected to be a complete mess of Arsenal meltdown, but it was only about half meltdown. So it was better than usual. And the thing with this Arsenal team right now is I'm looking forward to the City game, and I can honestly say not my heart, and it's just my heart. It's my heart and my head that say we are going to put our best foot forward because this team is different from the teams from the past few years. That's all.
yeah, no, I agree. We'll get into talking about the City match here in a little bit, but
That's why I
beyond.
didn't.
No, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was just going to say that's why I didn't go too deep into it. I
Oh,
knew
yeah,
you'd
yeah.
get to it.
The so the Lee Mason, the VAR, all that shit. Okay, let's put that on the back burner now. We're kind of done with that. It still is a little troubling to me that had we've had our brilliance really the last, I'm even going to say 2.5 years, where we dominate possession, we look really good moving the ball forward, and then we get to the final third or just outside the final third, and then we become devoid of ideas. Then it's shit. I've run out of room. I can't. If I run any further, I'm going to go out of bounds. What now? What do I do? Like, okay, I'm down here. Hey guys, I'm over here. I'm down here, but now I don't know what to do with the ball because it's this is what drives me nuts. Now, granted, I'm watching with a bird's eye view. Not I'm not with the vision that the players on the pitch have. I have better vision from where I'm sitting than what they do for obvious reasons. I'm not saying my vision is better than theirs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see the whole field. Go ahead.
Right. But we slow down. We cross midfield, and the closer we get to goal, I feel like the more we slow down. And I just for the love of God, I do not understand why. I'm shouting at the TV yesterday, run, somebody move, someone do something, because we get up there and everyone's in a position and it's just hoof the ball back and forth. And Ryan and I have just kind of the horseshoe of death. Like, and then what do we do? Because nobody can unlock that low block. Now what do? We just lob the ball into the middle and hope that someone can get a head on it. And hopefully, if they can get their head on it, it'll be on target. This is, Glenn, I could go for hours.
Well, it's funny because you agree with me. It would be to say that Brentford didn't deserve a point would not be fair. You agreed with me when I
I
said
agree
that.
100%. Yep.
But the part of the fun of watching on TV or at a game is looking off the ball. And I'm watching Brentford, and they were so disciplined. It was a tough nut to crack. And then when he put on Trossard for Martinelli, I thought, to myself, I said, "Oh, too early." I wrote down in my notes, "Too early." and Trossard scored. So, it's like I have mixed emotions on how Arteta did because he did bring on Trossard and he scored minutes later, I believe it was.
Four minutes after he came on. Yeah.
And I thought to myself, oh, this is awesome. It's in game management. We talked about this on the last show. But yeah, you're getting me all wound up again with your speeches about unfairness. So I'm gonna be quiet now.
Well, I look. Brentford deserved the point. They were the better team yesterday. They deserved the point. Here is where the great teams, championship quality teams, make themselves what they become. We had the lead. So we're not the better team, yet we've made that breakthrough. We have the lead. Now we have to see it out. That's where we're coming up short. Still, that's where there's just, I thought earlier in the year, I was thinking, the way that we've been built as a squad, really sort of from the back out. We've built the squad the same way we want to build the play, from the back out. Ramsdale, we get in Gabriel first, Magalesh. We bring, we've got William Saliba, sending him out on loan. Then we've got Kieran Tierney. Now we add Ben White to the mix, and then finally we get the goalkeeper. We get Ramsdale. We've solidified the back five, including the goalkeeper. We've solidified the back five. We get Thomas Partey in there as the number 6, and we're moving forward with filling holes in here and there where we need. And I liked that. I liked the way that we were building that, and I thought, okay, I'm looking back and I'm saying we're one of the best defensive teams in the league. We've not been very good defensively since coming back from the World Cup break. And that's and really that is it's we've been good. We haven't been as good. And what that says to me is, number one, we miss Gabriel Jesus. Eddie is doing a job, but we miss Gabriel Jesus in certain situations. And not having him and not having that ability to just hang 3 on a team in the first half, our defense is suffering because of that. Everyone says the best offense is good defense. Well, we had the good defense, but they're struggling a little bit right now, and that's causing us to drop points, in my opinion.
Okay. Once again, I'm going to bring up a point I brought up earlier, but I'll add a little more nuance to it. If you look over at the Bundesliga, Bayern, one of the best teams in the world, coming out of the break, did not win their first 3 games. It's now a title race in the Bundesliga. They let 3 teams back in the race. They came out for their 4th game and just blew out. I forgot who they played, but they blew them out and they got back to their form again. We can't expect perfection, BG, and I think we're gonna shake this and get out of it. This team is too good. This Arsenal squad is too good. Our manager knows how to figure shit out. Okay, we can't. What happened to Bayern might happen to us, where all of a sudden we're going to let a few teams back in it, but we'll deal with it. This isn't the same old Arsenal. No,
It's not.
no offense to that awesome show.
It isn't. But here's, one thing that Ryan said the last time he was here with us is, because I made the point where the youngest team, he said, nope, not anymore.
Yeah.
Jorginho raised the average age of the team.
Yeah.
That much. He raised the average age of the team that much. We're now the second youngest.
31.
We're young, right? We're still our best players, with the exception of Thomas Partey. I think he's 29, maybe he's 30, but our best players are our youngest players. And this is one of those things, like to Daniel Shaw's point, we need to grind it out. Young players need to learn how to do that a little bit, right? When we got the lead yesterday, I think that's a situation where I always say, look, go. It's not our job to stop scoring goals, right? It's not. I'm very, again, American sports. Bill Belichick. years ago
You made me smart.
playing the Miami Dolphins, and they asked him why he didn't take, basically, why didn't you take your foot off the gas? His response, it's not our job to stop scoring points. That's their job is to stop us, just like our two jobs: score and stop them from doing it. It's not our job to stop ourselves from scoring. But in-game management is still a little bit of an issue for this side, and I think that comes with age of the players and experience level of the manager. When we got that lead, I think that's a situation where Arteta says, "Okay, look, we're not on the front foot today here, fellas, and we got one. Now let's just see this thing out." I mean, it was, they scored, I think, 10, 12 minutes, not even, after we did. So it's like, guys, okay, look, just pack it in, and be done. Just win the ball, win your 50-50 duels, and just clear your line. Just clear the line, man. But
This is the way we all would have felt if Nketiah didn't score that third goal against United. Sometimes it's not going to happen. I'm sorry. Like, I keep throwing a wet blanket on all your anger, and usually I'm the one that's angry, so it feels a
I'm
little
not
weird.
angry. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm not
No,
angry.
you're frustrated, like most of us are, because we went from, oh fuck, is this really going to be a draw? Trossard scores, and then, as you said, 12 minutes later, boom, deflated.
Yeah.
That's a good way to, that quick from going high to low is a good way to bring out frustration.
It's immediate.
I'm spitting. Go ahead.
It's immediate stop, right? It's done. That's it. As soon as that ball went in the back of it, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Like, and at that point, it's like, at no point after they leveled did I think, I did not think we were going to win. It was either going to be a draw or a loss. And I mean, if we'd have lost that game, whew,
oh no, don't go. Stop with your rabbit holes. I'm taking your shovel away. No more rabbit holes.
It was a tough pill to swallow yesterday, and we need something more than just, Ryan said to me last night, and I'm going to try to keep him here in spirit at the very least. But hang on a minute. Oh, I love this. I've not been this angry about forgotten lines since that party I had around Whitney. Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well done there, my friend. Well done.
You're evil, JJ.
Ryan said to me last night that we need to be able to head the ball better. I appreciate what he's saying, and I personally don't think it's that simple. And I don't want to go off on him because he's not here to defend himself. I responded with, I'll kind of clue you into the conversation a little bit. He said we're shit at heading the ball. I said we're also shit at breaking down low blocks. We're also shit at defending set pieces right now, apparently, for some reason. And we're also shit at first touches and simple passing. A little bit of hyperbole here, but I didn't think our passing was great. I didn't think our first touches were great. And this is 3 matches in a row now that I'm looking at this saying we've kind of shit the bed on the basics. But fixing this problem is not as simple as having someone who can head the ball. I just don't think that's a fix-all for us. We still need someone. We still need to figure out a way to break down these low blocks. And teams are just going to pack the midfield and, sit in a 5 at the back and 4 in front of them. We got to figure it out. And I'll throw this out there. Change the entire way that you play. Instead of this possession-based game where we break teams down methodically, give them the fucking ball. Give them the fucking ball and then hit them on the counterattack. Because that's when we, in my opinion, that's when we look the best. When we're moving forward with pace on the counter and we're trying to outnumber them, the opponent, that's when we look like we're at our best. That's when we look our most dangerous, in my opinion. So I don't know what your take is on that. Go for it.
As far as completely changing everything,
What?
I
I mean,
I I don't see. What you talking about? Going three at the back? I'm not
no,
sure
no,
what.
no, 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 no. No, I'm not. I'm not saying completely change formation and everything. I'm saying maybe, and this sounds dumb, and I don't mean it this way. I don't mean it literally, but like, kind of like, fuck it. You know what? Here, you guys take the ball. We want to practice
Hmm,
defense. You guys take the ball for a little bit. We're gonna park the bus now. You guys take the ball. See what you can do. Like training pitch shit.
okay,
You know,
okay.
and again, I don't mean that literally as in kick the ball to the opponent and let them come at you, but rather than try and just dominate possession, go fast. Like just go fast. Run your ass off for 60 minutes. And if you're tired, we need to freshen things up. We'll bring somebody in off the bench.
For me, it's more like just tweak a few little tweak. Like Martinelli seems tired. Maybe give him a rest and start Trossard against City. Something like that. Just a little tweak here and there. I don't want too much done. I believe in this squad. I know you do too.
Mhm.
Um, they really shut down Saka, and I thought it took them a long time to say, okay, let's try something else last game. So, yeah, a little tweaking for me.
Yeah,
That's all.
I would have started. I would have started Trossard yesterday. I would
Oh,
have started Trossard
interesting.
yesterday, and I may have been inclined to even start Jorginho yesterday. Um,
Hmm.
we talked about this earlier in the week, lest you forget about
I forget everything.
rotation and how much he really does. Arteta really he trusts this 11, and that's great. But he's got to trust the rest of them too, and that is probably for me the biggest difference between us and City right now. Is Guardiola trusts everyone on his bench. I don't think Arteta trusts everyone on his bench. Now, part of
Hmm.
that, injury. I think he trusts Emil Smith Rowe. Not available. Obviously, he trusts Gabriel Jesus. Not available. I don't know if he trusts Reece Nelson, but boy, oh boy, I miss Reece Nelson right now, man. I look, I'm a big proponent, again, tangent real quick. I am a big proponent of guys that are just fucking fast. Reece Nelson is fast or pacey, I guess, as they say across the pond. But Reece Nelson is fast. And
Yeah.
you don't coach that. Like you don't take a slow, you don't take Granit Xhaka and all of a sudden turn him into Usain Bolt. That doesn't
I
You're born with it or you're not. Reece Nelson's born with it. Anyway,
I I know I want to say I agree with all of what you just said about Reece Nelson, but the thing that I like about his story is he's almost the forgotten Arsenal youth player. There was always a bigger name ahead of him in the
yeah. Mhm.
lights, and he got his chance. And this is such a big thing with me. When you get your chance, take it. And he did, and the kid got hurt. So yeah, I'm rooting for him. And if he makes it back to how he was, I'll get the goosebumps he gave me last time because I'm loving what I'm seeing. So I'm on
Yeah,
I'm on board.
I'm
I'm on board with that.
100%. Um, back to the squad. He's got to trust. He's got to trust the 18 that he gives a shirt to on the day, right? I mean,
Oh,
all 18 have to be trusted.
I wanted to bring up another point, but you got me all swept up in the Reese Nelson talk because I love him and I haven't talked publicly about him in a while. So you got me all carried away. You said Arteta might not trust all his players. All his players are picked by him. If he doesn't trust a player, they're not going to start. This is the one thing that I really am loving about Arteta is that, you know, he he handles his players very well, and I love the way that when I was Arteta out, you remember this because we were on the air like this when I was Arteta out. And I would question his moves in our pregame show. I would question his moves after the game was over. And all of a sudden, in the pregame show, everything I said, he was proving me wrong. And he kept doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it. So I trust him. I'm not going to get on the air right now and say he should do this. He should start Trossard. What the fuck? Under this and that. No, I trust him. He's earned my trust. And I think he's going to put the best team against City. But the thing also with Arteta, as I'll close, is he bases his starting squad on practice. When they so we don't always know why he does something. That's all. That's all. I talked
No,
way too long. Sorry.
no, it's just you and me, man. There's nothing to. It's just you and I. It's just we're just two guys talking.
I know, but when I was on the radio, if we talked for like more than a minute,
Oh, I know.
our program director after the show would say, "What are you babbling like a monkey for?" So that's kind of ingrained into.
I get it. Believe me. No, I think it's that starting 11. He trusts them, and he just inherently trusts that 11. They're probably the best 11 in training too. I would bet they're the best 11 in training, and so to your point, he goes with what he sees in practice. This City game is an opportunity, I think. Two things, and I guess this will kind of lead into the preview for Wednesday. It is. I think you'll see us play better, but I think you'll see us play better because of the style that City are going to play. We're going to want to do the same thing that they do. They're going to want to do the same thing that we do. Mm-hmm. Neither team is just going to sit back and park the bus. I think both teams are going to go for the win, especially in the first 60, 70 minutes. If we get to 75 minutes and we're tied, I think there might be a little bit of a change from both managers to say, okay, this is how this is going to end. Let's not do anything crazy. You know what I mean? And just, okay, let's both just point and get out of here, shake hands and get out of here.
Our only disadvantage. The only disadvantage I see for us in that game is there's nobody behind Nketiah. I feel good about every other position. Gee, if you told me last year Tierney would not be starting, I would have said, "Oh, what are you effing crazy?" Yeah. Tierney's almost like a girlfriend I broke up with. I miss him, but I know Zinchenko deserves to start. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying Tierney's off our bench. We got a good bench, BG.
We do in certain areas. Look. The bench is the same as the bench was built really to a degree, or has become. We're solid on the bench defensively. We're thin in terms of attacking options. We're very thin in terms of attacking options off the bench. Let me throw a crazy idea here.
Can I ask you real quick before your crazy idea, because I will forget to ask you this: is Reece Nelson healthy enough to play now?
No.
No, okay.
He's still out. I don't think Jesus is healthy enough.
No, I know he's not. I think they said mid-March at the earliest.
I feel like I heard we might see him in a couple of weeks. I feel like.
Oh, I hope you're right.
Well, I hope I'm right as long as he's right. I don't rush him back.
Oh, Arsenal never does that. They take their time.
Exactly.
They never. That's the one thing we don't have to worry about. Arsenal. They never bring back anybody early.
I'm gonna throw this out there. Great, maybe a crazy idea. Let me see if I can get some folks to vote. I'll put a poll up as well. Excuse me. Would you? I was stunned that Granit Xhaka came off yesterday. That's not ever something that I don't ever recall that happening unless a game was well in hand and he was putting players on basically just to get them some playing time. Xhaka came off, and I was even thinking to myself before it happened, this is a situation where perhaps we need Fabio Vieira to go in and replace Granit Xhaka and put him on together with Martin Odegaard. Didn't work. So, whatever. But would you start Kieran Tierney at left back? Wait for it. Drop Granit Xhaka and start Zinchenko almost in that number 8 role.
Well, that's not surprising to me because Zinchenko in FIFA 23 in my Arsenal season does have a MIDI. He can play MIDI, and he has for me, but that's just a video game. Um, that's a fun idea. If that's what Arteta wanted to do, I wouldn't question him unless we lost. I wouldn't
Right?
question him at all. Look, hey, I like it. I like it, but I'd rather have Jacques in there because I can't believe I said that. Props to Jacques. I wish he apologized for that shirt thing, man. If he properly apologized, but he showed me on the pitch, and yes, I said it. I want Jacques in there. I
Okay.
like his toughness. It's not the same Jacques that gets stupid ass red cards anymore. And his passing is everything's better about him. Ugh. I think I threw up a little in my mouth.
I hear you. And you know what? I'm inclined to disagree.
Good. Good. Talk me out of it.
No, it's not a matter of talking you out of it. I think it's just for me. I'm looking at a team that seems like it's gotten a little stale. A couple of things. So we seem to have gotten a little stale. It's the same 11 week in, week out, match in, match out. I feel like we need a little bit of a freshening up in the starting 11. There needs to be a little bit of a change. And Granit Xhaka is a big one. That's a big change to make. But I feel like it needs to happen because I feel like we need a little bit more dynamic. We need a different dynamic, but we need someone who is a little bit more dynamic in that number 8 role. That it's a pseudo 8 that Xhaka is playing. Because here's the thing. I mean, Tierney can do the job that Zinchenko is doing, not as well as him. But that being said, he's a better defender than Zinchenko. So here is the question. Where is the bigger drop-off? Is it Tierney? Is it Zinchenko to Tierney? Or vice versa, if you're saying, Tierney's a better defender than Zinchenko? Or is the drop-off between Zinchenko and Xhaka, what they can do, which is the greater drop? I think the greater drop is between Zinchenko and Xhaka.
That's awesome. What I see is two guys that would totally manage a football club differently. That's brilliant. I can't disagree with that, dude. But my solution is leave Xhaka in there, leave Zinchenko there, and just give Martinelli a rest and start your side. That's my starting 11.
So everything else would stay the same, but you'd bring Trossard in for
Martinelli seems a little tired to me. Just a little bit.
You know what, man? I'll tell you. Do you remember what Ryan said earlier in the week, the last show that we did, that he's kind of blaming Xhaka for Martinelli's drop in form because Xhaka seems to be playing more centrally and further back. He's not playing as much in support of Martinelli. Watching yesterday, I saw it. I tell you what, man, I'm with Ryan on this. I think, and I don't know why, I'm not saying that Xhaka is to blame for the drop in form for the team. I'm not saying that he's totally to blame for the drop in form for Martinelli, but he's playing differently than he played earlier in the season. Earlier in the season, he was forward. He was supporting Martinelli. He was out wide. He would drift in when it was applicable. Now he seems to be drifting further inside and hanging back more. And it's like, I don't understand why. I don't know why the change in tactics for Granit Xhaka. I would start Trossard for Martinelli. I agree with you there. I am inclined to. Zinchenko's just a dynamic player, man. He can do so many things. I mean, look,
yes,
we're playing, for all intents and purposes, we play 3 at the back because he's not back there, especially when
you're right.
Possession. He's not back there. He, he's carrying the ball forward for us on that left-hand side. So I would simply cover the back with Tierney, and I'd let Zinchenko do his thing and just go, man. And he plays midfield for Ukraine. He can do it. We see him do it for us. Can he play that Xhaka role? I think he can. I would, the changes I would make. I agree with Trossard for Martinelli. That's not a knock on It's a little bit of a knock on Martinelli, but give him that time off and let him get his head right. Because I see people like really, really coming after Martinelli. It's like, relax a little bit, like reel it in. All right, this kid he's going to come good. Believe me. It just, everybody kind of goes through a spell where they don't have their best stuff, and I think to a degree, it's here again. It's on Xhaka, but this I would Tierney in, Zinchenko takes Xhaka's spot. Tierney in at left back, Trossard in at left wing for Martinelli, and James would swap Tomiyasu for Ben White. James, I'm curious why. I'm curious as to why, but I would. It's almost too much for me if I feel like if I agreed with that, and I thought about it, but I feel like that would be too much change.
Okay, while James is answering you, let me say, James, I love Tomiyasu. He was becoming one of my favorite players before he lost his job to White. I would not complain about that either if we saw Tomiyasu in there, because I don't think we've seen the best of him yet. I think there's another level that's about to break through if we could just give him more time. So yeah, that's it.
There aren't many players on our bench that I don't love. When I mean Jorginho, I don't love him. Let's face it. But we just got him. Is there a role for Jorginho to play for this team? Between now and the end of the season, of course there is. He's going to have a moment where we say that's why we got him.
Exactly.
But there's not really. I love Kieran Tierney. Kieran Tierney's just like, they're going to sell him because you're going to
No, bite your tongue. No, why are we going to sell him? We're so deep now. Why are we going to F that up? No way.
Two things.
Tell I love Tierney. I love Tierney.
I do too. I don't want it to happen, but two things. Here's look at it from a business and look at it from Tierney's perspective. Number one, he wants to play. He's a player, man. He's not a bench guy. He wants to play. Number two, can probably get 40 or 50 million for him. And that's a thing where if it comes down to, which I hope it doesn't, I hope all of these Declan Rice rumors, I'm really getting on board with the Declan Rice thing. But if there's a left back that can ride the bench and provide backup for Zinchenko, Kieran Tierney, I don't want to say he becomes surplus to requirements, but the money you could get for him is money that for a player in that position you probably can't really say no to. Fuck it. Call Todd Bowley at Chelsea and tell him that the Toronto Raptors just offered us 130 million pounds for Kieran Tierney, and he'll be like 250. Done. Where do I sign?
All right.
And yes, I said the Toronto Raptors because that's how dumb I think Todd Bowley is.
All right, you are forcing me to do a first. First, I said wonderful things about Xhaka, and now I have to say wonderful things about Kroenke. He's spending money. It's like he did it with his NFL team and won a Super Bowl, and I think he's pouring it into Arsenal now. And I love Declan Rice. I hope we get him. And I don't want to sell Tierney. And you're talking about, well, it's a cost-cutting measure. I'm hoping that Kroenke stays on this path.
I do too. Because look, here's the other thing too. And all through the January window, I'd tell anyone that would listen, squad building. And let me tell you something, just brief sidebar, but first of all, I couldn't tell you the last time I played FIFA. And I'm afraid to tell you why, because I haven't told anybody why. Um,
Uh-oh.
and I don't want to jinx it. So well, you know what? Fuck it. No, we're in a bad run of form, so fuck it. I'm going to tell you. I haven't played FIFA at all this season since I have not played FIFA since probably this time a year ago. And I just so
Wow.
I stopped playing. I got into playing something else, and I just okay, like I'm going to put that on hold for a little bit. But then we kind of got into a good run of form, and I was like, I'm not going to play FIFA because I feel like maybe that has something to do with it, so I'm not going to play it. But anyway,
has the opposite effect on me. When we're in a good run of form, I'll play FIFA every day.
I
And
and believe
and
me,
when
I've been like scratching, but
when we draw like we did against Brentford to get my mind off of it, I've been playing Hogwarts Legacy, which is an amazing game, by the way. Uh, and so I'm not thinking about Arsenal as I'm
I
playing that game.
the reason that I bring this up is that like squad building that's my favorite part of FIFA. Playing the
Yeah,
actual like playing a match, like I don't care. I don't really care about I want to build the squad.
I
What
hear
we're
you.
doing, what we're doing is we're building a squad, not just to see us out now, but we're looking ahead to next season and playing Champions League football.
Hmm.
So when we that's why if there's a reason we wouldn't sell Kieran Tierney, that's why. Because Kieran Tierney would be the guy to come in and play Champions League matches as well. And he gives us a different he gives opponents a different look than what Zinchenko gives, right? I mean, I think they're both very dynamic players. Kieran Tierney's a better defender, which may be necessary depending on who we get drawn with in the group. So
Here. Oh, sorry. No,
no,
I
no,
keep
go for it.
interrupting. I'm sorry.
No.
Here's a really good example, at least in my head, it sounds like a good example of how Arsenal has changed. The season before last season, we all wished we were in the Champions League, and I said anytime somebody asked me if we were in the Champions League now, we wouldn't make it out of the divisional round. Now, 2 years later, if we're in the Champions League right now, I think we have a chance to win it if we were healthy. I really do. That's a big difference in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, remember when we remember not to bring up traumatic memories, but when we signed Willian, so that's what 2 years ago. When we
Sorry.
signed him, the rumor was that Mikel Arteta had said to Willian that I want to win Champions League within 3 years.
Ooh.
It'll be 3 years next year. So now I think he was banking on qualifying for it, and we'd be in Champions League this season. But next year is year 3 of that goal. And I'm telling you, right now, there aren't many teams across Europe that would scare me. There
Hmm.
aren't many teams in Europe that I look at right now and say, I don't want to be in a group with them. Now, there might be a collection of 2 or 3 teams that I say I don't want to be in a group with that group because let's fit maybe 2 of those teams, maybe we just don't stack up against all 3 as a
Yeah, there's always a group of death.
I'm right now, I'm telling you right now, I would take my chances in a Champions League final with anybody in Europe right now.
Hmm.
I would take
I
my fucking chances. I'm not afraid to say that even right now, given the run of form that we're in right now. I would
You got
I
to
would
hold
I
on
would
to it.
I would like my chances against anyone in Europe. Bayern, PSG. I don't think PSG really are that good. PSG are they just spend money. They Messi, Mbappe, name. It's like you guys want to see if we can get Jordan to come out of retirement. Maybe we can wake up the babe and he's dead. Fuck it, we'll try to get him anyway. Go get
uh,
Babe Ruth. Hey, is Tom Brady really retired from football? We'll see if we can get him in here too. They just
isn't But isn't that a great feeling to not be afraid of any other team? You were giving me goosebumps when you were making that speech there. I was like the Hanson brothers in Slapshot. Fucking yeah! So yeah, it's a great feeling. You got to hold on to that, even in times where right now we're so frustrated because of these last 2 or 3 games.
yeah. Like James, like Napoli, the one. Okay, I mean there are teams, and yes, Napoli would probably be at the top of that list. I don't know if they'd be at the top for me. But I mean, there for sure are teams I'd look and be like, damn, That's probably the one team I didn't want, or one of the teams I didn't want. But I would like my chances. I would take my chances against anyone in Europe right now. I'm not afraid of anyone. And like you said, and I agree 100%, and I agreed with you when you said it. I'm glad we're not in Champions League. Not right now. I wish we were. But at the time when you said it, I'm glad we're not in Champions League because I don't think we're good enough to be in Champions League. And last season, I really don't think we were good enough to be in it last year. I think we're good enough now. And
oh, yeah.
It sucks that we're not there. But the point is well taken. But back to the kind of the roster building and things like that, like, and to go along with that and kind of bring back a point I'd made a little bit ago, and I made it earlier in the week too, is just the trust level. We've got to get these guys in, and like Daniel Shaw, said earlier that he doesn't trust Tierney. He's hardly had any minutes, and I get that, and that's why these guys need to play a little bit. It's the one knock. If you come to me at the end of the season and you say you get one complaint, you get one knock on Arteta, what is it? Just one. Maybe you've got more, but just one. What is the most important? The most important thing I think he can change or fix or get better at is substituting. 60 minutes, man. And I'm not saying like it's got to be ingrained 60 minutes. That's when you make your subs. The flow of the game can change. But we've got to start getting some of these guys in and getting them playing minutes because we're going to need them.
I'm fine with his substitutions. I just wish he would tweak his starting lineup once in a while.
And let's just call it rotation. Let's just call it rotation in general, because I agree with that too. And it's easy to in a run of form like we're in right now. It is easy to say I want to change everything. I don't want to change everything, but I also would not mind giving City a different look. Giving them something. They're going to expect something on Wednesday. And in the ever famous words of Rowdy Roddy Piper, just when you think you've got all the answers, I go and change the question.
All right. Well, my final thought about the game is we banged our head against the wall a little too much with Saka. They had him shut down. I think this game, when City concentrates on shutting Saka down, we're going to have a plan B, C, and D, and that's why we're going to beat them 2-1.
Everybody, I've heard this a lot. I am not one for predictions because every time I give a prediction, we lose. I don't know what I predict, we lose.
All right, then don't do any.
I'm not going to. But I'll tell you, I mean it. These are the predictions that I'll give you. I think we will play better than what we've played the last two matches. So Everton and Brentford, I think we'll play better than we did against them. As I said earlier in the show, I think part of that will be down to the way that City play. They're not just going to sit back and absorb pressure. They're going to come after us. We're going to go after them. Should be an entertaining slobber knocker. Hopefully. And hopefully entertaining in a good way for us. I really would like to see a couple of changes, a few changes. I outlined them earlier. So, but we do need, if they're gonna double the wings, especially Saka. Okay, what are we doing? Because if they're doubling up on him, there's got to be a free man running somewhere, right? There's got to be a free man running somewhere. Find him, and that free man has to know that he's the free guy and get yourself into a scoring position. Get yourself into an attacking position, and lend support somehow. So
why are you yelling at me? We agree. We were both talking.
I'm yelling at I don't know what I'm yelling at.
Be like,
I don't know what we're yelling about.
I really think we're going to win 2-1. I really do, and that's my final thoughts. I could do. Wait, you know what? Rocky 3, B.A. Baracus before the first fight where he beats the shit out of Rocky. Hey, what's your prediction for the fight? Pain for City. Pain for City.
Well, just real quick. I don't know if Holland picked up a knock today. Pep said there was something there they're going to assess over the next couple of days. So I thought we played him well in the FA Cup match. I thought, I thought we played him well. He didn't really worry me too much in that game. Which is not to say that he can't be better or we're going to do something different. But either way, without Holland in there, they become a little. I almost want him in there. I don't.
Didn't he complain a little just a few days ago that he's not liking Pep's setup and his strategies? Didn't he say that a few days ago?
I don't know if he said it. I don't know if he said it. I've heard.
Oh, okay. I'll have to look at I heard it or read it somewhere.
I agree with the sent, and I saw this somewhere when United brought back Ronaldo. And I would tell any United fan that I am friends with that this was a bad move for them, because now what they're doing is they're trying to pigeonhole him in to the lineup, and they're changing everything they're doing to accommodate him.
Mm-hmm.
Early in the season, City were just running mad, just running over people. Now that you're into the meat of the season and teams are making adjustments, they're doing the same thing with him that United did with Ronaldo. He doesn't fit what they do. He's good enough that he's at 24 goals or something like that. He's good enough to get that, but he doesn't fit what Pep really likes to do, in my opinion. And I like my chances against City with him in the lineup better, because I think they're bashing their head against the wall like we have to play this way because of one player. I like that. So maybe that's no or whatever, but
no, I liked it. You gave us a layout of what you'd like to see, and I think every Arsenal fan would be very happy with that. Have some other options besides Saka. That's it.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there has to be a plan B. There has to be a different way of doing things. The horseshoe of death doesn't work. And again, Wednesday isn't going to be that kind of a game. We're going to see some open football on Wednesday, mm-hmm. I think. But anyway, that is it for us. Thank you guys for hanging on this long. It's a good talk, man. That was fun. I think we did all right for the two of us.
Yes. You were a little up and down there for a while. I was going to start charging you psychology fee, but then you came back.
I'm frustrated with yesterday, but at the end of the day, man, what we say last time? Enjoy the ride, and I'm enjoying the ride. Look, we're gonna have this. So it's how do we respond? This is the big one, man. This is Wednesday is the big one. So that's it for us. Thanks everybody joining us in the live chat. Daniel Shaw, Pat C, LL Cool James was in there. Iconoclast jumped in there at the end. David Chumney had some good comments in there as well. If you're catching us on the replay, thank you all very much. Please drop a like or a dislike. Just engage with the show. If you're not already, please subscribe to the channel. We would appreciate that as well. Stay tuned. Follow us both on Twitter. You know what that's all about. And stay tuned to Twitter. We'll have another show coming either midweek or in 1 week from today. Stay tuned for that. But once again, thank you to Glenn.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, BG. It was a lot of fun and very therapeutic. Very therapeutic.
Always good shit. We're out of here. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.